Thanks so much for tuning back in. We are live here with our fourth and final guest, and we are talking about everyone's favorite, well, I guess my favorite beverage that keeps us going throughout the day, coffee. So Denis Toomey from Church Street Coffee, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's
Absolutely.
A pleasure to be here.
Of course. Now, your coffee is just to die for.
Thank you.
It gives you that extra boost, more so than just regular coffee because it's cold brew. But before we really get into talking about it, I want to hear about your backstory, your background, and how you came to open Church Street.
Sure, absolutely. So when I first started Church Street, I was actually making cold brew at an office that I was, making it for my friends and family.
Okay.
And then, so what happened was I was making it into different flavors. Everyone has always had a classic cold brew, all black. So what I wanted to do was to make a little twist on it. And what I started to do was using natural raw ingredients into my cold brew. So I have a mocha cold brew, a cinnamon that we sell, and also a vanilla cold brew coffee that
Now,
we
how
also
do you get
keg
those
it to.
flavors into the coffee?
So with that being said, we use vanilla Madagascar vanilla bean for our vanilla flavor. We use cinnamon sticks for our cinnamon flavored cold brew, which what we do is we throw them into a food processor and they go into our brewing tanks.
Oh, wow. So you're actually taking real cinnamon sticks, real
Yes.
vanilla bean, and you're processing them down to cook
Yep,
beans.
yep. And the mocha is a USDA certified organic cocoa powder that we
wow.
throw into our brewing tanks.
And that's amazing because this right here is the cinnamon, and it just has that amazing aroma, that taste that comes through.
Yeah.
You don't even need any kind of dairy in this. It's perfect.
Yeah, thank you. That coffee actually comes from Asahi, Costa Rica, which is, if we think back to what you just asked me a moment ago, I was kind of sidelined. I was thinking of something else. I'm from Costa Rica, and when I first started doing this as just like a hobby, it was actually trying to I was selling the bottles in mason jars in the office and kind of making a little bit of cash, which was in return paying some of my rent, paying my cell phone bill. But eventually,
so this started as a side hustle. You got everybody hooked.
It was
You're
absolutely
like,
a side
You're gonna love this.
hustle.
It's gonna be so good. Everyone kept on coming back for more.
Yes, it was totally a side hustle. And what ended up happening was it kind of blew up in the fitness industry. I was working for a company that sold CrossFit equipment, and I was actually showing up in my Jeep with mason jars, and I was selling them out of the back of my Jeep.
Wow.
And yeah, this is kind of what turned out to be what Church Street Coffee is. The coffee being super smooth, it is from Asahi, which is I was explaining before,
Yes.
which is where I was born. The coffee farm that this coffee comes from, they use natural fertilizers and they use chemical-free based pesticides, which is
good
super
to
clean.
know.
And exactly. Anything that I'm steeping for 24 hours is going to be absolutely clean of any type of chemicals.
That is so important. Something that you don't really think about. If you're going to the grocery store and you're buying all organic fruits and vegetables, but then your coffee isn't organic, then what's the point?
Exactly.
So you're using chemical-free, pesticide-free coffee beans, and you're able to make a really high-quality product out of it in the end.
Yes, very true. And then for stuff that we do sell online, we also have an online site in which we sell coffee bags. And for that, like much of Rhode Island, everyone likes to work together. We work local as well. We source our beans locally from our partners at Blue Fire Coffee Roasters, just to give people another option other than our cold brew. And we also have it on tap at certain locations. And to name a couple in Rhode Island, we are over at Cafeology.
In
and
Newport.
Yep,
Awesome.
and we're at Brooklyn Brothers, which is in Cranston, Rhode Island.
Okay, so you are throughout New England, and we're getting these taps into Rhode Island,
Yeah.
and I hope to see them more popping up more frequently in Rhode Island, bringing us this delicious coffee.
Thank you. So and now the next big thing that we're working on is we are opening a brewery/coffee bar. That's going to be located in Canton, Massachusetts, and it's a 3,000 square foot facility, which what we really wanted to do, we originally thought it was just going to be a manufacturing facility where we're just going to keg all our cold brew, send it out, bottle it, ship it, get it on the shelves. But then we were like, this place is beautiful. It was built in the 1800s. It's an old textile mill that still has a lot of its exposed beam, a lot of its original bricks. So we were like,
industrial feel.
absolutely, yeah. So something that we really want to do, we're like, you know what? Let's turn our workspace into a cafe. And then because of where it's located, we were like, you know what? why don't we just do beer as well? That way we're
Yeah.
maximizing, the space to its full
course.
potential.
Definitely. And you have a lot of space, 3,000 square
Yeah.
feet. You might
It
as
is
well
pretty
use
big.
all of it. Definitely. So you're going to have beer and coffee there, and it'll be a coffee beer bar.
Yes, exactly. Yep. So you've met Amanda before.
Yes, I
Amanda has dabbled. She brews beer, and she'll be handling all the brewing of beer. And I'll continue to be doing espresso, nitro cold brew, and specialty hot coffee.
Awesome. So tell me a little bit about, I'm very curious about coffee because not all coffee is created equally, as you
Very
know.
true, yeah.
So coffee, cold brew coffee and nitrogen coffee, tell me a little bit about the both of them and what makes them so great.
So when talking about nitrogen cold brew coffee and cold brew coffee, it's up for debate. We know that coffee that's cold brewed and steeped in cold water, it's going to make our coffee 34% more caffeinated and also 70% less acidic. So it's a lot
Wow.
easier on your stomach linings, and it also has what we all love most is the caffeine.
Right. Why are we drinking it if it's not highly caffeinated? And this is actually giving you an extra zap.
Absolutely. So one of the things that is enhancing the cold brew is the nitrogen gas, in which it gives it a super creamy feeling. It really magnifies the great flavors that any of the coffees that you're brewing. So chocolate, it will bring out chocolatey notes, creamy notes from those beans. So it certainly gives you a different mouth feeling. So either cold brew or, nitro will, still be absolutely phenomenal in which way it's made. But going on the nitrogen route, it seems to be very popular these days because of the enhancement of, the senses that it does to people, like the mouth creamy feel, the taste, and everything else that goes along with it.
It's just like silky smooth. Kind of like when you pour a Guinness and it has that
Exactly.
that creamy look to it, that nice head to the top of the cup. It just really comes through perfectly.
Yeah.
Yes. And you don't even need dairy for it. The first time I had nitrogen coffee, I really thought, I was like, did you add dairy without me knowing? I didn't even see you do it. And you don't even need to have it. You can have it completely black, but it has that creamy,
Absolutely.
almost
Yep,
dairy
it's the
touch to it.
nitrogen gas that's giving off that feeling. We always have people come up and they're like, hey, we said no dairy. Is there dairy in here? And then we have to let them know that it's just the nitrogen
Like,
gas
no, it
doing
just
its
tastes that
process.
good. And when you're having, cinnamon and vanilla and mocha flavors that are actually roasted in the coffee, you don't even need a sweetener. It's just perfect as it is.
Exactly. Yeah, so one of the things that we actually take pride in is that what we're trying to really work hard on is we're trying to steer away from syrups, all those
Yes.
fake flavorings
Oh my gosh.
things. So what we did is that what we played around with by using these natural and raw ingredients was that we could promote a healthier lifestyle, drinking something that will trick your mind into thinking you put sugars or those pumps that you would get at any other corporate chain locations. So that's something we really take pride in, is that we're given, very delicious, healthier alternatives.
Absolutely. Now tell me, where did the name Church Street come from?
Church Street, it's actually the street that I grew up on in downtown Edgartown on Martha's Vineyard.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
I was walking on the beach with Amanda, and we were actually rebranding. We had to diversify for the fact that CrossFit is such a beautiful and amazing market. That's actually how we got started.
Right.
And we knew that we couldn't just sell to CrossFit, that we also want to open up a coffee shop one day. And we were like, well, we can't be what we are right now. And something that would be a little bit more appealing to the eye for anyone in the general public was Church Street. And I was like, well, we can call it like Church Street Coffee. How cool would it be if it was on the street? And she's like,
Yeah.
Dennis, you kind of just figured out the name.
It
And she
was
was like,
perfect.
it's Church Street Coffee. And I was like, perfect, slap it on the label. There we go.
That is just so great. It's an awesome background story.
Thank you.
Yes. And I just love to hear this story because, you came from a hobby, making it for your friends, for CrossFit individuals, and, selling it out of mason jars for some extra side cash. But then it turns into this booming business that is exploding in New England and finally making its way into Rhode Island, and you're actually opening up the coffee brewery. So we're just really, really excited for you. I'm hoping that Rhode Island gets more of this amazing product.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us today and giving me the extra boost that I really needed to get through the afternoon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Of course. And can you tell us roughly when we might expect the Canton location to be open?
Oh, absolutely. So one of the things that's happening right now is we are trying to wrap up our portion of the construction. So we are looking at finishing up in late May. So we will definitely be having coffee served in May, and then depending on all our licensing and permits, perhaps we'll be able to serve beer right around that same time, but guaranteed coffee first.
Awesome. So we're looking forward to it.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you so much. Thanks so much for tuning in. I am your host, Laura Afonso, for GoLocal Live and your food segment on Wednesdays. Don't go anywhere because we have Josh Fenton coming up at 4:30 talking to young entrepreneur about a coquito beverage that I'm very much looking forward to enjoying.
Sounds so good.
Excellent. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Take care.
Bye, Rhode Island.